It's the 30th of May and the Trump tariffs are just back into power again. Now the tariffs, they came, the tariffs gone, the tariffs have come back again, and everybody understands what kind of an insanity is going on right now. The uncertainty of business planning, the uncertainty of where to get your products from, the uncertainty of not knowing what the import tariffs are and when and how and what and how high the tariffs to be paid, as well as all of the financial burden that comes on top just because of such much higher import tariffs. Notice how the companies do. Obviously, they do go to other countries that have lower import tariffs and or to also build up backup suppliers, whether it's in the same country for lower production costs and or also in other countries where you have a much closer and shorter and cheaper shipping, calling it like, for example, nearshoring, getting your product purchased there where it's much closer to where you sell it. Or find alternative producers in other countries that have a lower import tariff than Chinese goods. Is it so difficult? No, not necessarily. The only thing that you have to do is go out and find suppliers in other countries that, of course, also don't receive such a high rate on import tariffs, that have maybe even cheaper production costs than in China, cheaper labor costs than in China, where the original products, the raw materials come from, instead of from China. One example, wood. China hardly does use their own wood for own production. Well, because they save their own natural resources. Most of the wood comes from outside in order to produce it there. Give an example, rattan. Whether it's sticks, whether it's furniture, whether it's this, whether it's that. Rattan, main producing country, is Indonesia. And the labor costs in Indonesia, while you have China, for example, $600 to $700 for a worker in a factory as labor cost, Indonesia may have a $200 for a well-paid worker. Now, question, is China now the best country always to go for cheapest production? No, by far. A long time ago, not anymore. Yes, you do get a lot of products there cheaper than in other countries, but people go to China because of the setup production lines, because of the efficiency that the country has built up by now, and the ability to produce, to work, to get your products done. While in other countries, say for example rattan would be imported to China, it comes from Indonesia, where also the labor costs for the people in the factories are lower. The production line itself may not be as set up and as automated and as efficient as in China. Again, China is still a great country to produce. We still do about 40% of the sourcing inside China, but by now 60% of the sourcing in the rest of the world. Now, you may get the products from Indonesia, from other countries, for the US itself. Look into Mexico, look into South America, look into other Asian countries, Southeast Asian countries, South Asia, Eastern Europe, Europe itself, etc. Or of course Latin America, Mexico, and the US itself. Now, does it make sense to go in there and to look for other countries, for other suppliers? Of course. Why not? Alternative producers, alternative prices, all of that may bring you for once better negotiation skills with your current suppliers, or bring alternative suppliers that will produce your products for cheaper prices with lower shipping costs, lower import tariffs, and or even if it's the same, you do have backup suppliers and a much more secure outlook into the future, rather than running and it's like, what's gonna happen with all the tariffs again and how high are they gonna go? Just be aware not to put all of your eggs into one basket. That's why, looking into alternative countries, we're happy to help you.